How about that?
Oh no. Okay.
And then I'll get
Brillo.
my Yahoo page, Yahoo News open. Beau Biden died today. He had brain cancer.
Who's Beau Biden?
The son of Joe Biden, the Vice President of the United States of America.
Oh wow. All right, you ready?
Let's do it.
Are you on the thing? Oh, we're live already. We should just say good morning. Frank,
Good
turn
morning.
on your picture so I can see your lovely face.
Well, I don't know how to do that from my phone because
Yes,
my
you
phone
do.
my phone is
Yes,
smarter
you
than I
do.
am.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Well, I'll let you do that whenever you get excited about it. But good morning. Thank you for joining us for another week of the lovely Sunday show, the Sunday that you come to see, the talking, the espousing, the clarity that we bring to you.
And your
We
opinion
ask
matters.
that you think.
And
Okay.
your opinion matters.
You are the opinion that matters.
And
That's
where's
right.
the illustrious Jeff? It's way too early. Jeff has only had 3 swigs of his coffee this morning. He's not under the gold dome, and he's not illustrious right now. But he's illustrious at the Embassy Suites in St. Simon's Island.
Brunswick. The Embassy Suites in lovely and illustrious Brunswick, Georgia. Right? So the largest shipping port, maybe? Isn't Brunswick a big shipping port?
Yes, I am currently in Johns Creek, Georgia.
How is that? How's Johns Creek treating you? Is the weather there nice?
It's a lot better than being incarcerated.
Gotcha. Many things are better than being incarcerated, such as an enema.
Even hemorrhoids.
Yes, to the roids. We all do the roids.
So we're going to keep it short and sweet this week on the cast. I know that wherever you hear us from, you can find us on Shazam. Just look up, and when our voices are on, we'll link you to our webpage and link us to our hashtag, which would be WAYTT, Wyatt. We ask you to think.com.
That's right. And if you ever eat Tillamook cheese, look for the special barcode that will get you an invite to the show.
Not only that, you get a free Manure Movers of America t-shirt for hungry, happy cows.
Hungry, happy cows. There really is no better cow than the hungry and happy cow.
So right? I guess this week what we wanted to talk about is, for time's sake, we wanted to, our cast sometimes runs a little bit long, but I guess this is going to be our power session this morning.
That's right.
And
like a lightning bolt.
Or a thunderbolt.
Clap.
The thunder and lightning portion. Yeah, that's right. We're the thunder and lightning portion of the podcast.
That's right.
So a couple of things, couple of headlines that kind of struck me. Rand Paul, one of the Republican candidates for president of the United States, this week announced one of his planks for his platform to get elected, which was repealing the what act was it? Did I just say I went blank? Repealing the Patriot Act. The Patriot Act. That being the act that takes away all of our necessities of life, and all we have is coffee and strawberries. No,
I think that is a little bit far-fetched to say that, but the Patriot Act does make lots of influence on yours and my life that most people don't realize is the Patriot Act, and have affected the understood freedom that Americans walk through the world with. So
they passed shortly after 9/11 attacks of 2001, and basically gives the United States sweeping law enforcement agencies increased broad powers to bring terrorists to justice, in a nutshell.
Well, you say bring terrorists to justice, perceived bringing terrorists to justice. There is much to do about the ineffectual nature of much of what the Patriot Act has done. Some of it has been highly effective, some of it has been mediocrely effective, and some of it has been completely ineffective. But yet those who are in power of the Patriot Act feel strongly that none of it should be affected.
What is it called when the words? It's an anagram. I didn't realize. I didn't realize it was an anagram, right? So an anagram, a
Most
word.
bills and laws have some anagram involved.
So it actually is broken down to uniting and strengthening America by providing appropriate tools required to intercept and obstruct terrorism Act of 2001. Acronym. It's an acronym, not an anagram. An anagram is a word spelled backwards and forward, like race car.
Okay.
There you go. In his, I guess, his suitors or his platform, so to speak, to try to differentiate himself between the other candidates in the field. Well, the Republican field, right now, I think it's around 6 candidates. So he's basically trying to, number one, provide himself with a clear difference between the rest of the field right now, and to try to put the focus on him during this early primary stage. And number two, really, Rand Paul is trying to get rid of the libertarian label that most pundits believe that he still is a libertarian running under the guise of a Republican.
So, lightning question for you. Is Rand Paul someone you would support? If you had $20 to give to a campaign going into 2016, who would it go to? Rand Paul?
I have to do some more research on Rand Paul. I do like some of the things that he says. He's very. I don't know if he's necessarily trying to carry the torch, so to speak, for his father and some of the things that Ron Paul stands for.
Right.
Mostly, I do agree with some of his philosophy on the Fed and how the dollar is being weakened. Thus, our economy is being weakened from that. So I do believe in some of the points that he makes on that. But as a candidate, to answer your question directly and not sidestep like a politician,
please.
I probably would at this point. I mean, I think that he adheres to some of the things that I think you. But he's just not a political force. I would agree. He's just not a political force. He might be in the cabinet for somebody, but I don't know. And only at that, he's only a 2-term senator right now, just like Rubio. I'm sorry, a two-year senator, just like Rubio.
Second-year
senator.
Right. So I think that is the right time in someone's political office, anywhere between a 2-year senator to a 8-year senator, that they should be running for president rather than someone being a 30-some-year politician running for president. I feel like it is a much stronger case for our country, and the vibrancy and the nimbleness, the agility that our country really should have in most of its decisions going through the world. My opinion. I hate old politicians, though. So
another thing about politics today, I just learned is Joe Biden's son, Beau, who I believe.
How do you spell that?
B-E-A-U.
B-E-A-U. Okay.
Yeah, died of brain cancer. He was 46 years old.
Wow.
Believe he served in Iraq War II.
Oh, yeah?
Operation Enduring Freedom, maybe, if I'm mistaken on that.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't realize he had brain tumors. And I knew he was young, but I didn't realize he was 46. I thought he was younger than that, actually. He served a year-long tour in Iraq as a member of the Delaware Army National Guard, the Fighting Blue Hens, and suffered a mild stroke in 2010.
All right. And do we want to speak anything about the flooding in Texas?
Let's speak about that as being a Texan or from Texas originally by birth.
Which makes me a Texan. That's really kind of a delineating factor there, yes. As being a Texan, we've got a big, long, flat section of the earth, and when there's lots and lots of water, all it does is makes a really big lake. That's kind of the nature of it.
And this has been going on for a week straight.
Yeah, there's been a lot of water in Texas.
And the last death toll I saw was like 25 people have lost their lives over this.
I heard 31 last I heard, which was 4 days ago or something. And the 31, much of that was in Mexico, but still. And I guess my my thing on the only takeaway I've got from that is what do we do as a country for flood insurance? Flood insurance tends to be something that the federal government subsidizes for those that are too poor to move out, but by the way that they write the laws, it allows those that are so rich that they want to live in flood zones get that insurance subsidized by them.
So like a tugboat.
Yeah, and you know, it's just where do you want to allocate resources? And it seems that many like to allocate resources to support people living right in floodplains. And so what do you do as a society? Do you want to let people go and do and live in the awesome places and then subsidize them continually rebuilding their house by taxpayers that live in places that don't have that? But then I go, well, why don't you just have disaster insurance provided by the federal government that people can buy no matter where they are? Because there's disasters in just about every part of this great country, whether it's the tornadoes of Kansas or these floods that happened in Texas or the earthquakes in California or the Hurricane Sandy that comes to the northeast coast. There are disasters that happen everywhere, so why not just subsidize a certain part of that for the entire country?
And speaking of our hurricane that has just joined the cast, none other than Mr. Thom Holmes.
Well, good morning, Thom. Are you here?
I am. I'm not sure about my audio levels, so and I don't know about the topic either, so I'll just say hi and listen in.
It's wonderful to have you join us this morning. We were discussing the floods in Texas, and specifically the flood insurance that I heard one pundit speaking about the subsidies for flood insurance.
Jeff, let me give you a little historical aside on that. I think this is the worst disaster in American history, which was the Johnstown flood in Pennsylvania. It killed more than 2,200 people, and this was I think back in the late 1800s. It was a mining facility, and that town had a dam that just basically flooded this town and washed away a town within matter of minutes.
But that's basically an Army Corps of Engineers failure, isn't it? It's not really a natural disaster. That's an Army Corps of Engineers failure.
It had to do more with the mining corporation that had set up this town, and they were maybe building for railroads. This was when the railroad boom was hitting in the United States in the late 1890s.
Right.
And it had to do with that, yay, capitalism.
Yeah, well, I mean, there are robber barons in every capitalist endeavor, and then there are capitalists who do good things,
Oh, wow, the Clint Eastwood was born today. Make my day.
Oh, wow. Speaking of capitalists who do good things, I've heard that Google had their I.O. this past week, and they released many new wonderful things.
Yes.
iOS has now CocoaPods, which are accessing your favorite libraries via CocoaPods, the official distribution channel for many things, favorite libraries. I think this is for coding. And then Google offered Brillo, which is supposed to be Android on connected devices. They're supposed to be redoing their cloud picture service in some way, but I don't know much to it. And they are rekindling their Cardboard, the Google Cardboard, which is basically a box for your cell phone that makes it into a VR device by holding it on your face.
Oh, jeez.
So it's kind of like Oculus Rift, but putting a cardboard box on your face.
Except for you already own the device, and you have $1.50 of extra things. You put a little piece of Velcro on the back of your phone, and you hold it yay far away, and then it uses the camera from the phone to make VR go.
That's all I need is, I had to deal enough with dipsticks walking on the street staring at their phone. Now I'm going to have to worry about them walking at me with a phone strapped to their face.
Okay, so on this one, there is another device that Google has given $524 million or $1 billion to. Wait, is it billion? Oh, 524 million, $500 million that they've given as just an investment. They didn't buy any stock. They just invested in this company. And their concept is to have a little laser on your eyeglasses that writes light on your retina. And it is supposed to be so precise that it augments reality in such a way that your eye cannot tell the difference between reality and this augmented reality. You're never looking at a screen. It's not in the way of you seeing life. It just basically puts labels above things that you want to look at.
I have another way
and that they're looking to make this this projector the size of a grain of rice. And if it was the size of a grain of rice, you just have a little battery back on the back of your glasses, and then you'd be able to have this
I thought you were going to say on the back of my skull.
No, in the back of your eyeglasses, because it's got to be somewhere that you can shine it.
It's the first bit where.
But it creates, instead of the Google Glass where you wear this awkward thing that looks gangly up in front of you, now it's shining on your actual retina, and you can actually see the augmentation of your reality.
Two questions. First off, have we mentioned, or did they mention at this thing, the project was Google Loon?
Oh, I have heard of it, but we have not mentioned that today or any of that. I love the project Google Loon.
Yeah, that one sounds really, it's both
fun,
promising and has just far-reaching applications. For those who are not in the know and are in our home audience, Google Loon is a project to provide up to 4G, right? 4G internet service to areas that currently don't have it because of lack of infrastructure, just geography, topography, and doing it through balloons.
Mm-hmm.
Almost like weather balloons.
Creating cell stations, basically, or Wi-Fi stations that go up in a balloon, and then they float in between the two atmospheric layers. One going east-west, one going, west to east, and then they just kind of hop between those by lifting or lowering themselves so they can stay generally stasis.
They can stay up for 100 days at a time. It's such a cool thing and has such immediate practical effects.
Yes. Bringing internet to those people who don't have it now.
Right. This is what the other thing I was going to ask, and I can't remember if I sent this article to all of you months ago, I think, but I'm not sure if anyone read it, about kind of an inside look at why Google Glass failed.
No, I did not read this article.
It was a really fascinating. I don't know if it's a Hangout or if it was a direct email.
It was in the show notes.
Yes, everything is in the show notes, Frank. Yeah. Yes, we know.
But it just was really fascinating because, and it's probably a lot was learned from it because it was just a matter of, like, literally it came down to, like, there was two factions fighting it. One faction saying, no, don't release this, and the other one saying, yeah, go. And so what basically happened was the problem of doing real-time beta testing but not calling it beta testing, because that's what it was. It was a beta test, but it wasn't effectively being listed as that, and so the public kind of perception turned on it. Yep. It's just really fascinating about how basically the project got scrapped. Maybe it was in Forbes, or it was in the Times. I can't remember. It was a long-form article, I feel. I'll find it and reshare with folks.
Great. That's an interesting read, I'm sure, to go through that forensic analysis of the death of Google Glass.
Did you see this week also that anthrax was sent to, 12 different labs in the United States?
Oh.
And there was actually live samples, and this is, I think, the second time this has occurred with the CDC.
Craziness. No, I saw that it did happen, but I know nothing of it.
26 people were treated after the Army's accidental anthrax shipment.
Oh, so the Army actually sent it.
So it was the Army, not the CDC.
Got it.
Army
That's more of what I read.
What?
The Army accidentally shipped anthrax to places.
Whoopsie.
Yep. That secret program's not so secret anymore, is it?
No.
Nope.
Question for you guys. So if you,
Okay.
how do you feel about if you're, and I saw this yesterday when I was at the Wing and Rock Fest, I mean, I guess this is pretty standard for people that have booths and so forth out there with their iPhones or their Android device, and they would hook this little app up, or not an app, but like a little plastic
Square.
thing where you could, a square where you can just
Yep.
swipe it.
Yep. That's actually invented by the guy that started Dig. He did it with the guy that started Jack Dorsey and Kevin Rose started Square out in San Francisco because the payment stuff for small vendors was horrible.
Do you feel like in the next 5 years of innovation with cell phones that our debit/credit cards for our bank accounts are going to just, I know you can do this with Amex, that you can just download the app on your phone, but do you feel like that is where it's headed, where you're just going to be using your cell phone instead of your debit card for transactions?
And that goes back to the whole Google Wallet, Apple Pay stuff. I think that it'll get more adopted, but it's a slow process.
Yeah.
The benefit is go ahead.
No, I think you're gonna hit.
Yeah,
hit it.
I
Go
think
for it.
that the benefit is that the processing cost is much less because they do it as an ACH. They do it as a direct bank-to-bank transfer instead of doing it as a credit card clearing. And a credit card clearing has a 2 to 4% fee to do that. Right, so as they clear with these other formats, if you can do a direct transfer, like say a Google Wallet goes to another Google Wallet, the actual cost of the transaction is less than a cent. So, but if you sent $100 as a Google Wallet through to a credit card into a Google Wallet, now you've got a $2 transfer fee that you have to deal with. And
Wow.
that becomes an onerous amount of money. So if you can find a way to get people a direct discount for doing that, even if it's half of what the credit card transaction fee was, say you did it with gas. Remember when everybody was buying gas on their with cash because the cash price was different than the credit price? If you said, oh, there's a cash price which is 5 cents less, but we'll let you do your phone transaction for the same thing, man, people would be all over that. If you did a direct Apple Pay from an Apple Pay account or a Google Wallet transfer for 4 cents cheaper, then all of a sudden the inertia gets behind it and it gets adopted. Because it's people knowing how to use it that's really the slow.
Ziggy says that her roommate squares her, so I didn't even know square was a verb.
Yeah, I get a number of payments via Google Wallet. I get people send me money on a regular with Google Wallet, and I make transfers to people on Google Wallet on a regular.
I just want to go out on a limb and say that if anyone out there wants to send me money on a Google Wallet, they are free to do so.
Do you have it set up, ready to go?
I will do that now, so that people can just start, so they can just get comfortable with the process. You can start small, 10s and 20s,
yes.
And then as you get more comfortable, you can start sending me larger bills.
That's right. And it doesn't have to be in exact amounts. If you really want to make it with an adjustable cent marker, that's fine too.
And if you've noticed that both my Square account and Google Wallet will not necessarily be in my name, that's just for accounting and tax reasons.
Ah, got it. Yes. Oh, to the accounting and tax reasons. So much terribleness there.
Well, I'm glad that everybody got to speak this morning. I know it was a little bit earlier, so I just wanted to
It is. Thanks, everyone, for making it a bit earlier, as I have many things that I must be doing. And I guess, does that put another week in the books?
I guess a week has been put.
A week has been.
Thom has an Asshat that he has not.
Yeah, did you have an Asshat you'd like to share with us?
Oh, man. There's always got to be an Asshat out there.
Yeah?
I can't think of one. I'll have to save it for next week.
Alrighty. It'll also go in the show notes. Well, thanks everyone for joining us. It's been another lovely week where we have discussed the things that we wanted to discuss, and you get to say something, but since you didn't, we took the initiative and made an illustrious podcast for you. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll watch it when you watch it. We'll listen to it when you listen to it. And you don't have to
Wyatt.
Hashtag Wyatt. You don't have to think like me.
You don't have to think like me.
I sometimes do not think.
But you're thinking more and more, and we ask that you, our audience,